Hello and thank you for listening to Willow Talk. Producer Sam Ferris here. Adam Peacock away down in Melbourne. He's with the tennis. Haz, we should get him a trucker cap and see if he can give it to Novak for us.
Yeah, he tried.
Did he?
Yeah, but he was worried it had something to do with COVID. So he didn't try.
Jeez, you were in good form early, Hads. Brad Haddin, welcome, and special guest today, former Australia captain and ICC Hall of Famer. Doesn't get much better than that, Sthalekar.
Thanks for having me. It's I've been watching and following and wondering when the call up would happen. And I guess seeing as Elisa's not here, I'm the next best thing.
Well,
right?
what I want to know, we've been trying to get in contact you, but everyone else around the world's ringing. We see you everywhere. But
Yeah.
what about getting the phone call that you're in the ICC Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got it from one of the panelists and I said, this is a stitch up, surely. He goes, no, unanimous. And I'm like,
Yeah, easy.
no. There are better players out there that deserve to be in the ICC Hall of Fame before me. And so he goes, no. So it's taken actually a bit of time and it still will, I
Yeah.
think, for a while to kind of go, wow, okay, I'm in that list of people that I grew up watching or idolized.
Yeah.
It kind of freaks me out, to be fair.
But when the phone call comes though, and
Yeah.
you go, yes, you get past. Okay, this is a joke. When you have the time, like for yourself, you must
Yeah.
sit back there with your family and just go, wow, I have left this game, and that's
Yeah.
all anyone
Yeah.
wants to do. You want to leave the game in a better place.
Yeah, well, it happened during COVID. So I got into the ICC Hall of Fame in COVID, right? And so what normally happens for those that are in the ICC Hall, there's a dinner,
Yep.
you get flown business class,
Oh.
you get all the bells and whistles, and I'm there thinking, you beauty, like Dad's coming business class, where are we going?
Yeah.
And obviously COVID year, let's do it on Zoom.
Oh, no.
And then the following year got into the Australian Hall of Fame. Again, COVID year. Let's just flick you the award
Well,
In the
and that's
mail.
it.
Well, I tell you what, we need to do organise on Willow Talk.
Yep.
We need to organise a party. Members bar at the SCG would be
Oh,
fitting.
that'd be
That's
nice.
good.
I'm sure your old man will love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he would.
Yeah. So if you had it in COVID, you've got to recognise a moment like that.
I agree. What if we did a Willow Talk Hall of Fame? we can have a real big party. Induct some people straight
I
away.
don't think we're at that status yet. We might be able to serve the drinks.
Yeah, that's right.
But we're definitely 12th man in that one.
Big show today. We're going to preview the Women's Ashes with Lisa and Hads and take a look at the BBL finals. The BBL as the finals approach nearly at the back end of that tournament. A bit of housekeeping before we rip in. On Tuesday's show, Adam called out our target of 800 followers on Spotify by the start of the Sri Lanka series. Well, our Spotify listeners have listened and rallied, and we're up to 804. We've crushed it. So we need to get a new target, Hads. What do you reckon?
850.
850?
We
Okay.
get that.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
At least we'll go to that today.
Yeah, that's right. 850. Okay.
Make
that's-
sure everyone, come on.
Yeah, if you're listening on, if
Or
you're listening
family
on
members.
Spotify, yeah, please. If you're listening on Spotify, follow us, give us a rating. That'd be really appreciative. We're almost at 10,000 followers as well, so that'd be a nice little target to hit as well. And let's not forget those who listen on Apple Podcasts. Send in a review if you haven't already. It really helps the show grow. Brad131. Don't think this was you, Hads. Says, best cricket podcast, so good, easy listening and insightful. Particularly love the balance of women's and men's cricket. And Heels is outstanding.
The
Keep her
captain
on
always
Fox.
gets mentioned.
Doing incredible.
Always.
Thanks for all. Thanks to all for such a fun listen on commutes. We also had a comment on YouTube, so you can get in touch with us in lots of different ways.
geez,
Instagram,
you're everywhere.
TikTok, YouTube. Jason, I'm wearing the Willow Talk. If you can't see, if you're listening and not watching on YouTube, I'm wearing the Willow Talk shirt. New merch, thanks to Swiv's Locker. Thanks for that, Ryan and those guys down there. Jason says, can we buy the hats? I would really like to wear one in New Zealand to upset my fellow Kiwis.
You mightn't get out alive, mate, Jace. That's the gutsiest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah,
I don't think we're getting many of those votes in New Zealand.
I don't know. Maybe we should get Jason one.
Oh,
We'll
find one for
We'll
him.
try and get one to Jason. And finally, a reminder to send in your club cricket caps. We've got a new one here today. Hads is wearing it. This one from the Cairns Rovers Cricket Club based in far north Queensland, or Far Q as they call it up there. Club president John Marigotta sent it through. The Rovers were established in 1895 and is
Wow.
Cairns' oldest cricket club.
That's
They've
when
produced...
Peacock was born.
Yeah. Oh, my. He's not here to defend himself. They've produced players like former Queensland player Errol Harris. His last game was in 1991 and he opened the batting against Malcolm Marshall. So not a bad way to finish a career. And West Indies player Brendan Nash. John has asked for a picture of Hads in the trucker cap hat. So Hads, I'm going to do that right now as we record.
But
You
gotta
got
go
two
both.
caps.
Yeah.
We'll put them both in there. And we'll get one with the logo in there. Looking great. We'll send that through to you, John.
There you go.
He says he loves the insights on the show and we should always listen to Heels more.
Ooh.
It's hard not to.
She does speak
Yeah.
the loudest and most forceful at
Yes.
times. But there's plenty more stories about her.
Yes.
Well, you know what? That is a real good way to start
Let's
it.
get into it.
You would have been one of the senior players when
Yeah.
she come in as a
Yeah.
young punk.
Yeah. Punk is the right word.
I thought so.
So the first time I met her, actually, I was the high performance manager at Cricket New South
Yeah.
Wales, and she was in our underage programs, both her and Elise Perry. And I distinctly remember, I don't know if you did this, Hads, there was the talented athlete program
Yeah,
camps out at Narrabee.
Yep.
So and you can picture her because you've
Yeah.
seen that Carlingford shot of her, that little bob,
Yeah.
Yeah.
blonde hair, little cute, innocent face.
Oh.
Yeah. But literally we go out and part of the activities, one of the evenings was you've got to do a skit. Meanwhile, so Elise and Elisa come up to me and said, "Oh, can we go outside? We've just got to get some stuff." And I'm like, "Okay, no worries." Comes back and she has the Merv Hughes, like got the black paint from the NRL lines, black paint, and they did this wonderful skit. And I'm like, these two are going to cause a
Yeah.
lot of problems
Yeah.
on the field and off the field, and they continue to do so throughout their career.
They're still going. They're still going. We spoke to Bo Webster on Tuesday's show, and he said there's a new Aussie test tradition where I think Travis Head invented it this summer, where if you're a rookie and you have your first win, you have to sing a song in the circle before they sing the team song.
Really?
He sang "What About Me" from Shannon Noel.
Shannon
Yeah.
Well, it was all about him in
Yeah,
the test
well,
match.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Sam Constas in Melbourne, he did a reprisal of Sweet Caroline.
Did he?
Yeah.
You know what? Young Sam's been to the races too much.
Yeah, yeah. What would your song have been?
Probably The Gambler.
Yeah.
That's why I
That's a
played.
good one.
Yeah.
And least what would yours have been?
No idea. I was never great for music. I was
No,
always
Don't have a karaoke song you go to?
nah, not really.
Okay.
I don't like karaoke either.
Yeah.
Mine would have to be right at the end of the night.
Yeah. well,
I'm not
bit of
doing it.
confidence.
After full of
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Liquid
Sponsors
confidence.
product.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Sydney Beer, Brett Lee. That would be the only time.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. All right, before we get into the Women's Ashes, because there's lots to talk about that, we've got you here, Lisa, and let's talk just real recap of the border-gavaskar trophy. Did a really good deep dive on that on Tuesday's episode, but your thoughts on this series?
Amazing. Two best sides that we've seen in all formats really come together, and so much on the line given the drama before India even arrived on Australian shores. Then there was obviously the drama of Rohit Sharma. There was headlines throughout the series, whether it be on the field, off the field. And I think we've seen what the level is. And almost there was a lot of discussions before the border-gavaskar trophy, whether that is equal or surpassed.
Yep.
Obviously, they've gone to 5 tests, so it shows that it's equal in the eyes of the cricket administrators.
With the Ashes.
Yeah, with the Ashes. But I would say that it has surpassed given the amount of viewership. Obviously, India
Sure.
carry a
Yeah.
fair few
Eyeballs.
billion people,
Yeah.
really. And I just think of the rivalry that these two teams have had. You go back to the Test Championship final 2 years ago, you go to the 50-over World Cup final, and then you come to this series. So it's been a wonderful kind of build-up to this. And as a cricket fan, we certainly weren't disappointed.
Well, you're lucky enough to call it with Sonny,
Mm.
and he's definitely a character of the game. He speaks his mind. But where did he see the series at? Does he think now it's overtaken the Ashes? He likes it now. It's gone to 5 tests.
I don't know where he actually truly believes where it sits. He would be absolutely stoked that it's gone to 5 tests.
Yeah.
I think it's probably indicative of where the teams are at, that they deserve to be really tested. And we saw that physically as well, that there are players, it's a whole different kettle of fish, isn't it, to be able to survive 5 tests. And some decisions you make in test 2, 3 and 4 can have a huge outcome. And a number of players didn't survive the 5 tests physically. So that just shows you where the game's at. I think Sonny likes the media interest. He adds to it as well. God bless him.
You have to.
After the first test, I loved it how he goes, "Oh, shambles in the Australian change rooms. What's this?
That's right.
Josh Hazelwood injury?
Yeah.
Is it really?"
Conspiracy.
And I'm just like, you're basically you're stirring the pot, and I like it.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, Bumrah, I've witnessed some great fast bowlers, played with them, and Mitchell Johnson, I thought, dominated the series as much as any fast bowler, but that was in a winning series. Bumrah to do that in a losing series, every ball he bowled looked like an event. Have you seen anything like that?
No, I haven't. I was asked at the MCG. I was a guest speaker for the CA box, and they asked me, is he the best overseas bowler that has travelled here? And I said yes.
Yeah.
And then I said, I went even one step further, and I said, I think he's the number 1 bowler across all formats.
Yeah.
Because of his ability with the new ball, whether it be red, pink or white, and then his ability to bowl death for white ball. He's an all-phase bowler. And even when he had to come back for a second or third spell, you still felt like something was going to give. I mean, seemed like he was really carrying the rest of the Indian side, and it was him that was changing the game constantly. And there was only so much he could bowl, hence why we didn't see him in the 4th innings. But and his numbers speak for themselves. We've never seen numbers like that.
Amazing. And you're right about making those decisions throughout the series, because Rohit just kept turning to him, and then when they needed him the most, he broke down. It's just such a grueling series, which probably puts Mitchell Johnson's efforts even higher because he lasted the whole 5 test matches.
Yeah, it does. The one thing about Bumrah's series, yes, he dominated it, and it was great theatre, and there's so many side shows throughout with performances. If he wasn't here, that they don't compete.
No.
And
You're right.
that's one interesting decision about not bringing Mohammad Shami.
Yeah.
Even if you had him around and just he was right for 1 test, and you might have had to carry 4 quicks for that. He just needed help. But I've never seen anyone dominate a series like that. But the drama I enjoyed. I enjoyed India come out. They own spin bowling. For the first 3 tests, they had 3 different spinners.
Yeah.
I can't understand when so much planning, you've been in high performance sport, how that happens in a huge series like this. How didn't they get that right?
Yeah, I think it's the balance constantly of some are better from a batting perspective. We heard Rohit talk about that he wanted Ravichandran Ashwin to stick around for 1 more test, and so there was obviously some things at play that we're not privy to, and maybe that will come out later on. But it's fascinating, and we're seeing a lot more tests kind of, and I can't recall a series where Nathan Lyon didn't really play a role either. It's not just only on the Indian side, like spinners just didn't play a role throughout this series, which is, as a former spinner, I was a bit disappointed.
Well, I copped it from our listeners because I tipped Nathan Lyon to be the biggest
leading wicket taker.
Yeah, leading wicket taker and play the biggest role in the series. I thought he was going to tie one end. But what we have seen, I reckon we've seen a change in the surface.
Yeah.
In the SCG, we've played there for many years. I've never seen a surface that sporty. Do you think it's the curators trying to get the balance bat and ball? Or the new ball interests me as well. There's a lot of talk about there's another lacquer on it.
Yeah.
Or do you reckon it's the curators just trying to even things up?
Look, I think it's a real art as a curator.
Oh, yeah.
It's so
and
difficult,
I don't
hey?
think people quite understand that they're trying to look through a crystal ball. And guess what? We can't see into the future.
No.
We don't know what the weather is going to be like. As much as we'd like to think we can predict it,
Yeah.
we can't. So,
Well, we know Sydney it's not going to rain.
That's
in
right.
the Test match.
Don't
We
worry
know
about-
that.
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that.
but yeah, so it's that balance, right? And maybe he just missed it by a slight margin.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I guess the only concerning thing from a player's perspective is a ball rearing up
Yeah.
Yeah.
off a length that you don't expect it to,
Yeah.
and that becomes dangerous. And we saw, I think when India's first innings, that day 2, 20 minutes was taken out of the game because of the physio and
Yeah.
doctors running on. 14 minutes of that time was for Rishabh Pant because he was literally the punching bag,
Yeah,
copping
big
it in
cushion.
all parts of the body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I found that interesting, though, the way Pant played in the first innings, because there was a lot of talk about Melbourne that there was a big blow up. And
Yeah.
sometimes you're allowed about 2 a year to say, okay, this is a standard we play at. You got it. And I reckon he actually listened to outside noise. I know Sonny was quite critical of the way he played when Head got him out. And I reckon it affected him because on that surface, I want the natural Pant. I want the natural Pant to go out, take the game on. The field starts to move because we seen in the second innings when he started to play his game, he sat back and he went, okay, now he's playing cricket. So I reckon the blow up had a big effect on the way not only he played, but it just seems to me there might be a little bit a divide in that change room at the moment.
Yeah, I think Gautam Gambhir coming in, I think he's been quite open to say, I've just sat back and watched initially. Things haven't gone very well in that reign so far as head coach. So there's got to be a point where, and I think he's right he's a head coach. He can say this isn't right. This is how we need to play Test cricket. But there is one thing I don't like, and maybe I'm guilty of it as well. As commentators, we go, "What a shot! Amazing! That's exciting! Look at that shot!"
Yeah.
And then next minute, I can't believe what is he doing there? Like, it's literally a fine line between success and failure. So we shouldn't praise and be all hyped and excited. And then on the flip side, when they do it and it doesn't pay off, well, that's ridiculous. Why would you play it? I think we've got to, as commentators and as fans, just appreciate that it's not actually that's high risk cricket.
Yeah.
It's not going to pay off all the time, but boy, it's going to be exciting.
I mean, it's like anything though. Like the Aussies got written off after that first Test loss. This is the worst Test team. We suck. We're going to make changes, bounce back, and won the series 3-1. So we just need to calm down a little bit with these series. Lots of talk about this potential 2-tier system in Test cricket that comes after the next cycle in 2027. We spoke about it on Tuesday's show, but at least what are your thoughts? Are you for or against a 2-tier Test setup?
Well, I've just written an article that's going to be coming out
dear.
in the nightly.
Exclusive.
So, look, I can understand. I'm not naive enough to I get the understanding of profitable cricket. I know that Test cricket for majority of countries are losing money. So the 2-tier system, I'm not quite sure how the financial model will work because I would imagine Tier 2, they're not bringing in a huge amount of dollars because they're not the big countries, right?
Yep.
So is Tier 1 going to subsidise Tier 2? If that's the case, I've got no issues, right? I'd love to see promotion relegation. So that gives kind of some jeopardy within those two divisions. But England are sitting 6th because of the World Test Championship. Now, if you were to split it down the middle, there's 12 teams playing Test.
Yep.
I would think 6-6.
Yeah.
Though I've seen a theoretical structure of 7-5.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I'm sure that's the politics at a higher level than my pay grade. But if England were to be relegated, are they going?
Yeah, good shout.
And
Wouldn't have thought.
but they should go.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to create this context and this jeopardy, then I'm sorry, it's regardless of who. The only other thing then from a high performance point of view is when you think of when India, New Zealand, other countries came into playing Test cricket, they didn't win a game or a series for 20, 30, 40 years.
That's right. Yep.
So are we being fair to this next generation of Test playing nations by saying, well, actually, you're not going to practice against the best, you're not going to play against the best, but good luck.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to get any better. So should we stick at a format that struggles financially or should we find another way to kind of subsidise? that will be discussed and thrashed out. But it seems like it's moving along those lines, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm not. I haven't got the answer, but if I look at it from outside in, we need to find a way that Test cricket's still attractive to West Indies and
Yep.
Afghanistan and Zimbabwe and all those, because it's so easy now with all the tournaments around the world to lose your best players. So I don't know how it works, and there's going to be a lot of great cricket brains around the table. I just hope it comes to a solution. Money's sorted. We've got enough money in the game because we need to keep these teams in, and it might be that we need to standardise payments for Test match cricket. You don't want to see the West Indies where they are now at Test cricket. I know Darren Semi's taken over again as coach, and he'll give a lot of life now to that form in the game. But we do need to find a way to balance it up so everyone's improving.
You just need to make sure the money works. You're right, Lisa. If West Indies play Afghanistan 3 times in 4 years, I can't imagine there's going to be huge TV interest, maybe not even the crowds. But if they are making the same money as they would have been against Australia, then play on, they can develop their players.
Correct.
And then hopefully advance.
Well, because that money should be then funded down to West Indies in the terms of structure, grassroots coaching programs, programs to ensure all of those type of things, which unfortunately takes a bit of mullah.
It does. It can go so many ways with it. Like say the IPL time, for example, where teams like Zimbabwe don't have anyone in. Well, can you play a series then Zimbabwe against Australia A?
Good shout. Yeah.
All we're trying to do is develop the game and keep test playing nations like Zimbabwe, Afghanistan, Sri Lanka don't have a lot of people. Maybe we have to think really outside the block and get Australia A playing a test series against Zimbabwe. I don't have the answers, and I just hope they throw everything on the table. And when they come out, yes, there'll be money, but the game's improving. We've seen a lot of growth in the game with 2020, the way people play. They do things now that, like when we played, like watching young Sam play and came up to reverse. Like you're sitting there going, I wouldn't have thought about that 20 years ago. But the whole game's changing. So throw everything at the whiteboard and land it. There's no end game. Just land at something that develops everyone.
Yep. Good shout. Not bad. I like the Hads. Australia A playing.
I don't sleep a lot.
Last one. Lots of thoughts up there. Last one before we get into the Women's Ashes. MVP of the Channel 7 commentary box over the summer, Lisa.
Oh,
Can't say
MVP.
punter.
Yeah, you can't say punter.
Simon Kadich.
Cat.
Oh, stiffness.
Yep. I think, he's the type of guy, and you know him better than I do, but he is a leader. But he leads in a different way, right? And I think when he speaks, there's still the same authority. He doesn't throw in words just because he's getting paid by the word, right? So I think when he talks, there's some authority around it. And I like his thought process and how he comes up with it. So, I think Cat goes underrated and under the radar a little bit. But if you actually just think, you spend some time listening to what his points are, you go, bang on.
Who's the one in the commentary box when you've got your stint there and you just think, you know what, I'm on edge the whole time because anything could come.
Okay, so it's
we all have them.
Yeah, so it's not necessarily with for the men's coverage, though. Bradley Hodge, there's an element of that. It's like dodgeball. What is coming up? And I love him dearly because it's great. He gives us plenty of ammo to go back at him. But Katie Martin, which you'll hear throughout the women's Ashes, you'll hear this constant rustle. Like she just is a fidget. She can't sit still. And I'm like, I have to kind of tap her and go, just calm down. Just breathe in. You're okay. Just calm down.
Yeah. Mate, I had Skull.
Yeah.
So you'll laugh at this. We're doing a series last time Australia went to Pakistan. So we're doing the panel. We do the start, lunch, and end.
Yeah.
Anyway, Skull's telling us how the game's going. We're on the panel, and the producer is looking at it, and you can see yourself whether you're on camera. So he started to compare the session, Australia v Pakistan, to the Kardashian sisters. So we're on the end and you got your notes and everyone started to go like that thinking, where's this going? And the producer was looking at you for a comment and we're going,
Nothing.
and BJ's looking at me, I'm going, I think Mark Hall was there and we're just looking at Skull. He was the only one on. And BJ goes, oh, well, yep, mate, it's been a great session. We'll just go to a break. Skull. He said, didn't you guys get that? We said, mate, I've never seen them. And my daughter was in there. She might have been able to answer. He goes, well, that's the audience I'm looking for. I said, well, don't ask us for a comment. The Kardashian sisters, Pakistan v. Australia.
You reckon Mark Wall knows who the Kardashians are?
No chance.
No
He would have thought, is that a horse? Where,
Yeah.
where are they running? Where are they running?
But it is fun, though. It is fun because you have to think on your feet.
Yeah.
That time there, and as you know, my mind's ticking all the time. I'm going, I don't know. I actually don't know what to say. And when the producer was looking, I'm going, I don't have anything.
I would have just thrown it back at Skull going, what the hell are you doing watching the
Yeah,
Kardashians?
75, mate.
No. He watches the Housewives of. He talks about it in the makeup room.
Oh, my.
Mate, legend.
Let's get to the women's Ashes. And what a huge summer this is going to be. It's already been, but lots more to come. You can catch every ball on Channel 7 and 7 Plus, live and free. Pretty stacked commentary team with Lisa, we've got Alistair Nicholson, Trent Copeland, Alex Hartley, Katie Martin, as you mentioned, and a new guy by the name of Mitchell Stark.
Yeah.
Haven't heard of him. He's an up-and-comer, aspiring broadcaster. I think he wants to be the next Trent Copeland, let's put it that way. What are we expecting out of Starkey? Because he's going to be, Heels has commentated on Starkey's games, but now he gets the right to reply, the shoes on the other foot.
Yeah. Look, he has done a few games with us. And like all players, when they step in, they're a little bit circumspect and their voice is down here and they don't really talk much and they don't know when to talk and when not to. Yeah, correct. Because, again, when you come into the commentary box, you don't get there's not a 101. No. It's like, there you go, off you go, good luck. It's like, shit, what do I do?
Yeah. Why didn't you look at the red light? I didn't even know I had to look at the red light.
But now he's done it a few times, and obviously he would have heard what Elisa has said as well during the test coverage. So I think he's building up nicely.
Yeah,
he comes off a long run, so it'll take him a few games to get into it, and then he'll go hard. But the great thing about having Mitch there is he's genuinely watched so much women's cricket that he is so knowledgeable about it. So, the times when he has come into the box, he's spoken about the test game, he's spoken about the longer spikes, the shorter spikes. So he gives you those little bits of information that some people would not be aware of. And then there was one occasion where there was a rain delay and he quite rightly said, to Elisa, who we put on a headset, should the Aussie opening bowlers have bowled a little bit fuller? And Elisa, in her professional way, said, well, if you want to be highly critical. And so we were like, okay, this is going well. But I hope that he sticks to his guns and he calls the game how he sees it because he is an expert.
I'd like him to be like his bowling. Short, fast, and spray one every now and again. Get into someone.
Nah, Mitch. He's too much of a nice guy.
But he's also got a very analytical mind.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mitch. If he gets comfortable behind the mic, to listen to him about how to plan an over, what field you need to do, like little things we all know. You put, like if you're putting two back, bat pad, well, I'm not even thinking about a bouncer. Like they're obvious ones, but Mitch will be good with things like that because his mind works. He's played, 94 test matches now.
Yeah.
So he'll be good.
Taking a hell of a lot.
But I wouldn't criticise the captain of Australia. We've done it in here. We all nearly got sacked.
Look at all the feedback. It's just like, how good's Heels? 24/7. I was actually thinking in the shower this morning about the captaincy on this podcast. We've got Heels, obviously. You've captained New South Wales, the Sixers. You, captain of Australia. I co-captained the second 11 Ex-Services second grade team. And
did you win?
Peacock loves Captain Morgan.
Captain Morgan.
So across it all. Did we win? I think it was 1-1. One lost one. Yeah, not great.
Well, getting into the series, though.
Yeah.
England put it to us last time, didn't they? They threw a bit at us that we weren't quite ready for. Do you think that's how you beat this Australian team? Do you have to be willing to lose every game to get into the series?
So the last Ashes that was played on Australian shores, they lost everything.
Yeah.
Then the following one that happened in England, we won the test. They kind of fought back in the white balls, and Australia looked lost at sea. And then they somehow won one of the games to be able to make the points even, so Australia retain it. So England are confident, and they're not fearful anymore. And I think that this is what happens with T20 franchise cricket as well, right? You get to know everyone, you become friends. The aura around the Australian team gets lost because at the end of the day, they're just humans. And they make mistakes, and they've got vulnerabilities, and they've got anxieties, and you start to be aware of all of that. So now you know how to kind of potentially push the buttons and play to your strengths. And Heather Knight, believes that you've got to, like you said, you've got to play to lose. You've got to come out and throw the first punch. I've heard her say that a few times. When you're playing against Australia, throw the first punch. Don't wait to be punched in the face. Throw the first one.
I like that.
Good parenting, that actually.
I'll leave that to you. She's listening out there. So the matches, the first game's on Sunday at North Sydney Oval, Jan 12. Then we go to Junction Oval, Jan 14. Bellerive, Jan 17. That's the one-day series. T20s follow that. Jan 20, SCG. Jan 23, Monaco. And then Jan 25 at Adelaide Oval in that day-night test match at the MCG. A lot of cricket. That one starts on January 30. 10 days of cricket potentially in 22 days. Pretty tight turnaround. And just before we get your thoughts on that, Lisa, the format it works. The white ball games are worth 2 points each. The multi-format series, no results get 1 point each, and 4 points for a test win and 2 points if you draw that test. So last time it was 8 points all. What do you think about the schedule? It's pretty jam-packed, isn't it?
Let's look at all cricketing calendars, and it's pretty jam-packed, right? The Women's Premier League is set to start, I believe. They haven't announced the dates, but it looks like 7th of Feb.
So there's like 3 days between the end of the test and the
so you got a majority of those players will have to fly over to India.
It doesn't matter though. No one's tied at IPL, so it's
never. Yeah.
But it is tight. But it how the system or the structure has worked and the calendar has worked, and also I think Cricket Australia and ECB in their previous Ashes at home, they're trying to schedule it so that it's not going up against the big bash finals and things like that. They're trying to schedule it so it has success. Otherwise, yes, we can elongate the series, but you might be playing the same night as the Big Bash final. What's the point of that?
That's
so
right.
I like how they're trying to do that. That means the players are going to have to recover pretty quickly and adhere to their recovery plans. But they're professional cricketers now as well.
Squad mentality.
Yes.
Well, and I think that brings us into it more than England. Our squad's as strong as it's been for a long time. I don't like the points system, the way it works. I understand it all, and I get it. I just think I'd like if they had a couple of test matches and say, okay, there's your test matches. You can do it for the white ball. I can sort of live with that, but I still think, okay, go and play the test match. I don't want to be thinking about if I hold out for a draw here, I can win the series with the white ball.
Okay.
I like the test matches to stand alone. I don't have the answer to that because schedules and things like that, but I think the women's game deserves that.
Play 3 tests now. They're playing more test cricket.
Yeah, to kind of answer that, my first Ashes series, we only played 2 tests, so it got dropped down from 3 to 2 by the time I came in. I think Chris Matthews is the only one that's played a 5-test series.
Wow.
Yeah. So then it was literally the Ashes were being decided by 1 test.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous, right?
No.
And so the multi-format series came to kind of add a bit more context throughout and to create the media hype as well. So even if you win the Ashes, guess what? There's these ODIs and T20s. They all count, right?
Yeah.
So, and I actually think this format should be something that the Australian men's team adopt when they play Zimbabwe and Ireland and Afghanistan, 3 teams that they haven't played at all, but we probably should as a big country to help out the next test playing nations. But we're getting to a point, I think, where the big three have got the money and the finances to potentially create multi-match series of tests.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
okay.
at the moment, but even now, this is the only multi-format series. I think South Africa play one. We don't have one with India.
we didn't. Oh, they cancelled it, didn't they?
Yeah,
they
I don't
scrapped it
think.
right
I
before
think
it
I don't
started.
think it was points based. It was just we'll have the one test in there,
Yeah.
but there's no trophy at the end of it. Where you can actually create some trophies now
Yeah.
with some pioneers of the game
Yep.
to celebrate. Like we have the border-gavaskar.
Yeah. I like
Well,
it.
tell you what, you might have just put your name on a trophy
Yeah.
there.
No, no,
Oh,
no.
shout.
The Australian Indian one should be the Fitzpatrick Goswami Trophy.
Oh,
Go to
nice.
bowlers. It
Yeah.
always
Bowlers.
goes to the batters,
Yeah.
right? Have you noticed that?
Or Warren Murugan.
Oh, Warren, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
They're
fair
a bit
enough.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've kind of got a few more.
What,
Yeah.
what
and
are
the
the
spin
girls
bowls as
also?
well, aren't they?
What are the girls' appetite like for take the point system away? If you ask them on face value behind closed doors, would they say give us a couple of tests or 2020s? What would the girls want? They still
Oh.
want the test cricket.
Any players that have had the chance to play Test cricket love it.
Great.
Though, with the World Cricketers Association, we do a global survey,
Yeah.
and players that have played Test cricket, their positioning of it isn't the premium product anymore.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So even players that have experienced it are going, well, actually,
Yeah.
I can probably earn more, or I prefer white ball format. So
Is that female cricketers or male? Or
both.
Yeah.
yeah,
Is that the report that said T20s have like overtaken ODIs?
it's starting to overtake. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the feedback from the players.
Yeah.
But this current crop of Australian cricketers, you speak to them, female cricketers, they love Test cricket.
Yeah.
Just ask Annabel and
Oh,
Elise.
yeah.
They just love batting.
I was
Can't
going
get
to say bat all day. Let's look at some players to watch out for this series. And the first one here is our skipper, Lisa Healy. She's done a bit of a fitness cloud. She's going to play the Governor General's game. Sent her a cheeky WhatsApp this morning and she said, I'll be good to go for the one day. So let's see. I don't know if she'll be keeping or not. Like she wasn't with Beth Mooney taking the gloves. This one's for you, and I think I know the answer, and I think it's going to be one word. But where should she open the? Where should she bat in the
cricket
Test team?
all the time.
Yeah, open the batting.
I would love to see her open the batting
Yeah.
in Test matches. But you look at the squad and it's packed with talent. So I understand it all, but
But if she's not keeping, I think
Oh,
she
yeah.
should open, and
Yeah.
Beth Mooney should slide down to her position.
see, better
I like
cricket
that,
minds.
yeah.
If I just throw it out there,
Yeah,
someone will come up with the right answer. But I
Yeah.
just imagine walking out and the bowlers walk out and Healy walks out next to you. Like
Yeah.
if she hits a second ball to point for 4, you start to go, oh, hang on a minute, I've seen this in Walker. Do I need to put deep point back? And the game becomes easier for everyone else. You can get out after 3 hours, I don't care. She'll be 100, but the game is moving forward.
Yep.
And you get time at the back end to bowl teams out.
Like it. Ashley Gardner, she was Australia's player of the series in 2023. Took that 12 for in that Test match. Has her bowling overtaken her batting now?
A little bit
Yeah.
based on recent performances. She would be disappointed that her batting isn't hitting the heights that it previously did.
Yep.
I've seen her at the New South Wales Breakers trainings recently, and she's spending some time in there getting throwdowns, working on her game, and I hope this series is almost set up for her from a batting point of view. If we can get the Ashley Gardner of old, then coming in that middle to late order, she can inflict a lot of pain on the opposition. But certainly her bowling has outperformed her batting of late.
I look at Ash's game, and sometimes you can be a victim of your own success. If you look at the way Ash has played, under pressure, she's batting down the bottom. She's pulled us out of jail so many times. So everyone goes, oh, you got to leave Ash down at 6 and 7. And then you start to pigeonhole yourself into that role. Then you don't get as much opportunity as you should. You try harder. Sometimes I reckon with someone like Ash, I would throw at the top. Mate, my batting line.
Want everyone,
mate, we're
how many
moving
openers
forward.
have you got?
But in someone but she's made a name for herself at getting you out of trouble at the back end of the game. And sometimes you start to forget that actually she could bat in the top 4. So you can be a victim of your own success sometimes.
Yeah. X Factor player, just a match winner. Annabel Sutherland. She averages 71 in Test cricket, 46 in one-dayers. She just got back-to-back hundreds in the one-day format. She bats there at 5, bats 7 or 8 in the T20 team. Do I want to see her up a bit more?
Yeah, she's and hence why she's been elevated in the one-day format
Yeah.
because she has scored a mountain of runs, and you can't turn a blind eye to that, right?
And she's bailing them out too, like
Yep.
Ash used to.
So Talia McGrath
Yeah.
has kind of slid down the order, batting at 7, 8, I think, at one stage in the recent ODI series. And Annabel hasn't disappointed. She has repaid the faith. And I think her mindset is, I've been in part of this Australian team for a while now.
Yep.
And I've bided my time. I've respected everyone. Give me a go.
Yeah.
Love it.
I'm not letting go of it now.
Yeah.
What about you've got Annabel, you've got Phoebe.
Mm.
I loved that they took on the captaincy, and
Yep.
I like that they make mistakes.
Of their WBBL
Yeah,
clubs.
I love make mistakes. Finish the season, have a review, go talk to people like Lisa and say, "Oh, I found this hard. I was really good here," because you need to develop young leaders. And for those two girls to take it on, I take my hat off to them because we want to see that in the game. But I also want to see them make mistakes. I'm not worried that if they're making mistakes, things are a little bit hard for them because when this crop of great leaders, Healy, Perry, and that go,
Yeah.
you've got some hardened cricketers ready to take over.
Yeah. I thought the way that Sydney Thunder did it with Phoebe Litchfield, so in the sense that they had a Heather Knight, they had a Chamari Adapatu who captained their countries.
Yeah.
They were there. Then they had Belinda Clark come in and stay for the majority of it
Oh,
to
perfect.
almost be kind of the sounding board for Phoebe. I don't know if the Melbourne Stars did exactly the same thing for Annabel. I felt like she was maybe put in a difficult situation, and I could sense tactically in how she was using players who wasn't necessarily getting the same support. Like Meg Lanning was there, but Meg's the type of person to go, I need to let her figure it out, right? You're right. You've got to make mistakes to be able to learn. So if you're in that same situation, you know which path to go down. So I think Annabel probably found it a little bit harder. I hope the support is there for her next year for the Melbourne Stars. But I thought Phoebe Litchfield did a wonderful job for the Sydney Thunder.
But that's a good thing too, isn't it? At a young age, and it seems to me they're mature on their years anyway, and they'll come and source information. They'll ask girls like you and say, "Oh, I seen this. How did you feel that?" And they'll come up. The younger generation are better problem solvers than we were. But I don't mind it being hard and making mistakes.
Yeah. Idea for Channel 7, put a camera on Phoebe Litchfield when she's in the dugout. Bit unlike Steve Waugh where nothing phases him. You wouldn't know if he was winning or losing. Phoebe rides every ball and you can see it on her face.
It's quite funny because if you look at the first time she made her debut, it was at North Sydney Oval. We put the camera down and she was doing the blue steel look and she was mucking around and having fun. And now all of a sudden the camera's always on her and now she's a little bit shy. Every now and again it comes out. She with her mate, she'll be dancing with Claire Moore and then suddenly realises she's on TV and it's how embarrassing.
Don't lose that.
But I like it. And that's the reports from everyone. And I spoke to Heather Knight. I said, "How's Phoebe going?" She goes, "She hasn't changed a beat." I said,
Good.
"Perfect."
Good. Darcy Brown, still only 21. Crazy. She's been.
They're
in the
all
system-
babies,
I
aren't they? It's
know.
ridiculous.
It feels like she's been in the system for a while as well. Played in that New Zealand series. How big a factor can she be? And have we seen the best of her yet?
No. I think she's struggled of late. She has a little bit of trouble with her wrist position, and if she loses that, then she loses her ability to shape the ball away and probably sprays it a little bit more. And that's why she's kind of probably gone down the pecking order a little bit in terms of like it's Megan Shute and Kim Garth who can put the ball on a dime and swing it both ways between the two of them. So Darcy Brown's still figuring out her body, still figuring out what the best looks like for her. I hope she gets it because she's got the ball speed, which we all love, and she can be an absolute weapon when she gets it right.
Well, we're going to England. Not that we want to spend much time, but can the skipper Heather Knight get under the Aussie skin, or we know it well enough now to fight fire with fire?
Yeah, she will. She'll get because. She's just sometimes when she's batting, especially, she reads the situation really well.
Yeah.
She's grown in confidence in coming down the order and playing the situation well. Like we saw that in the WBBL, like she was exceptional. And once she left, Sydney Thunder looked like there was a big gaping hole, unfortunately. Test cricket she's built for. She knows how to build an innings. And she's not afraid to say some things as well. Like the banter, I actually think, whilst there may not be any physical contact out on the field.
Well, that doesn't matter anymore. You don't
That's
get
true.
suspended.
That's true.
Just get a slap on the wrist. I actually think we're going to see quite a feisty series. And I think off the back of the border-gavaskar, I think the Women's Ashes hopefully will captivate the audience like the men's series did.
They play a lot together, though, don't they, the women's players? Like you just mentioned, Phoebe and Heather playing in the same team.
Yep.
Does that diffuse any of that?
No.
No.
I don't think so
Or
because
do you
I
get
think
extra ammo?
you get this is where you get extra ammunition because you know how they work, how they tick,
Right.
what words might or what's frustrated them previously. So can I put them in a state of being uncomfortable? That's your job, right?
Yeah.
When you're on the
Hads.
field. See, Hads is
I'm
really
telling-
agreeing with
but
me.
Heather Knight might be something. It's the women's game now is where the men's were when IPL where
Yep.
Yes.
Australia lost their aura a bit as well. You'd go over to IPL and everyone would go, whoa, Ponty, and they go, hang on a minute, Punter and that are good blokes.
Yeah.
Stagos is a good bloke.
Yep.
Yes, they terrorise me, and then you start to lose a little bit of your aura. But Heather Knight might be something that you learn on the way. And when you have your meeting before is don't engage it. Shut up.
Yeah.
It might be the other way, but
Yeah.
you start to learn little things
Yeah.
about who you play against.
Correct.
Nice. Probably, Lisa, you tell me, best player in the world, Nat Sciver-Brunt.
Yeah, certainly the best all-rounder. And probably from a bowling perspective, we haven't seen her ceiling yet because she's always had some injuries and niggles, so they try and manage her because
Yep.
if you take Nat Sciver-Brunt out of the side, it's like a Bumrah, right? You
Yes.
kind of think, oh, it looks really light on now. But Nat Sciver-Brunt just gives them so much in the field, so much from a batting and bowling point of view. We saw that in the World Cup final in New Zealand, like the innings firstly of your skipper, Lisa Healy, and then obviously Nat Sciver-Brunt as well, were two of the best innings I've seen in such a crucial game.
She's unbelievable.
Yeah, and just take it, and I'm going to specify a certain shot, her play off the back foot. She's
Right.
got to be one of the most powerful back foot players, drivers I've seen.
Yeah.
Annabel's up there.
Yep.
And I think there'll be a nice little tussle actually between the two.
Yeah.
Because
I like this.
Yes, this is good.
because Elise Perry isn't bowling as much anymore.
Yeah.
But Annabel's bowling those hard overs, back of a length, heavy ball. Nat Sciver-Brunt similar, but maybe more cutters, slower balls out the back of the hand. So watch those two all-rounders go head to head.
She's truly 360 degrees. There's no place on the field that's safe. And you talk to the Aussies about it, and she's just so hard to bowl to. When you're captain against a player like that, there must be a million things going through your mind because there's only 10 fielders, right? Or 9. How do you put them everywhere?
Mate, sometimes when a player like that's in, and bowler Travis Head.
Yeah.
Sometimes with a player like that who, if a Perry comes in, Annabel comes in, they go, oh, no, she's back of a length.
Yeah, right.
And you throw something else at them. You go, well, what's going to happen here? And it can throw their game. So,
Heels might bowl herself.
Oh, we're not that desperate.
no. Who's going to worry us? Who's the one player that, if they have the series, can take it away from us?
Well, I think that the Heather Knight, the Nat Sciver-Brunt, but then it's the other players around. So it's like a Danny Wyatt. So she's an aggressive player.
Yeah.
If she gets going and the other two fire, then all of a sudden you're starting to be, you're chasing a lot of runs, or they're chasing your runs pretty quickly. Lauren Filer is someone that you probably need to have a look at. She's got good airspeed.
Okay.
She kind of came in a couple of years ago, then lost her way, and now back in amongst it. And then you can't go past Sophie Eccleston.
Yeah.
She's
Sydney Sixer.
yeah. She is just
Unbiased.
she is just world class.
Yeah.
And there's an element of me I'd love to see her bowl like to men.
Yeah.
Because I think she would challenge them because her speed is that of what left arm male finger spinners are.
Right.
And her height.
Yep.
Should enjoy our conditions.
Yeah. I know Elisa Healy for the Sixers struggled to keep her. She'd get excited every time she took one cleanly. She's like, whoa, I've got one. Woo!
Let's get to our predictions. We mentioned the Test Series
predictions.
predictions. The border-gavaskar didn't go quite to plan it has. You were pretty close. But let's go through
By the
our
way,
win-
I said 3-1 at the
Did
start.
you?
I've got it on record. So.
What did I just say 3? I said 3-0.
Well, because I think India were always going to win one because they're a good enough side, and I thought Rain would play havoc in the
In Melbourne,
Sydney,
not in
yeah.
Sydney.
Not in Sydney.
No,
No.
All right. Well, now
Don't worry. I kept telling all my co-commentators,
Oh, yeah.
what a beautiful Sydney
Yeah.
day it is, eh?
Well, I finished my commentary stint in Sydney is saying what a wonderful test match. The crowd was outstanding. We had the marquee game at the end
yeah.
with no rain,
Yes.
not 1 hour loss.
Yeah,
Correct.
the end
And quickly got out.
for the right of reply.
Well, let's do our series winner and scoreline here. So you got to do the points this time. So 16 points up for grabs if every game's a result. Lisa, you're up first because you are the form tipster at the moment.
Now I should have kept my mouth shut.
Yep.
16 points up for grabs. Gotta think. 2, 2. Can we get like a little timer? I need to.
The ticking clock on here.
So 2, 4, 6, 8.
While you think,
So 10, 10, 6 to
10.
Australia.
Okay,
I don't think England are going to take a point off us in the white ball.
right.
Ooh.
So you're going. So that's
I
12
don't-
for Australia there.
yeah. And doesn't matter what happens in Test. We're already
'Cause-
won.
yeah.
So I'll just put you down for Australia then. I'm going 8-8, another draw.
Right.
Get out. How can you do that? Tell me how you come up with
Yeah,
that.
so tell us your thinking behind that.
Well, I think the test match will be a result. I haven't really put that much thought into it, but I think,
We'll spin it to victory there in the Test match.
yeah, so we'll have 4 points there. And
Pink
England,
ball, but see, this is the thing.
England will win 2-1 in the one days in the T20s.
Okay. See, spinners, apart from Ash's last feat, the pitch never really deteriorates for us because we're little twinkle toes. There's no scuff marks unless it's a day-night test, so it's not like the heat, unless they keep it open and it bakes the MCG. So I hope we see that. But anyway.
I've changed it 12-4.
Oh, there we go.
They're not taking a point off us in the white ball. And
I think
Test
they'll
cricket,
win a couple of the white ball games.
Ooh.
I've never been great.
I think between us, we've picked every possible result, except for England winning. Most runs. I was almost going to autofill yours, Hads, because I'm pretty sure I know who
I'm
you're
not
going
even
to
gonna
pick.
say. She's going to be one of our greats, Phoebe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Phoebe came in here and sat in that seat. Oh, she sat over here actually, and like Hads' first question was, "So you're going to be a top 5 player of all time?"
I'm putting her when she finishes.
yeah.
She'll be up with yourself.
Well, I think she'll beat all my
ICC
records,
Hall of
but
Famer.
anyway.
Well, her standing in the game.
I didn't score that many runs,
But
mate.
her standing in the game, like I watch her do things now. The
Yeah.
way she reverse
Reverse.
sweeps and hits, like she can take a game away like that.
Yeah.
I think she's certainly up there and she'll play an important role. And I think the Australian side, from a T20 perspective, missed a trick over in the UAE when they didn't elevate her.
I agree. Yeah.
They missed an opportunity. They kept going with the Georgia Wareham and
Yeah.
the Wolfie effect. The Wolfie effect, unfortunately, didn't work.
Yeah.
Phoebe's up there. I think Annabel.
Yeah.
See, so there's Annabel and Beth, right? Like Beth's just so consistent,
yeah.
consistent.
Well, she'll be in the top 3. We know that.
Yeah. So between those three, see, we haven't given 11 names. See, we've given 3.
I'll go Beth Mooney then.
Okay, great.
We've each got one.
Annabel, Beth, Phoebe,
Yeah.
done.
Most wickets. Hads, I know who you're going.
Who?
Ash Gardner.
Well, not all the.
I reckon Sophie Eccleston might get it.
Oh yeah, in the white ball stuff.
Hmm.
Cash in there.
Well, it's going to come down to the Test match. I think it'll be Ash Gardner.
Yeah.
King maybe
Oh yeah. Yeah.
the leggy.
She doesn't play T20s.
Bugger.
I'm going shooter.
Good
With
old.
a pink
she
ball.
doesn't. I don't know if she'll play the test.
Ah.
See.
Shit.
Yeah. Well done, guys.
Yeah. Right.
Gardner.
We don't
Then
know yet.
Yeah.
We don't know. Annabel Sutherland. She'll
Spin
play.
can play a factor with the pink ball as well because you can't see the seam as
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good
True.
shout. Yeah. Will Wolfie play? Will she play pretty much all game?
Probably not the test. I'd be
Okay.
surprised.
Mm.
They tend to go Kingy for ODIs and Test.
Yep.
And then Wolfie or Georgia Wareham.
Georgia Wareham,
I should
yeah.
stop saying nicknames. Sorry, everyone.
That's all right.
Georgia
on this show
Wareham.
you meant to.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Georgia Wareham for the T20s.
Mhm.
But Alana King is stating her case to be included for all three, I think.
Yeah. She's going to come on in a future episode and talk about leg spin bowling. So stay tuned for that.
She loves it.
Loves it. And finally, player of the series.
Perry.
Ooh.
Ooh.
I won't get her out in the test match.
Yeah, that's a good
That
shout.
is true.
That's a good point, yeah.
Probably going to go for like a Beth Mooney. Because I think she'll, depending how Elisa goes with keeping, I have a feeling because of the short turnaround, I don't know if she can go back to back to back to back to back keeping and batting. So I think they may interchange if it's flaring up. So Beth will have an important role behind the stumps as well.
And just because you mentioned her and she does listen to the show, I'm going to say Elisa Healy, just so I say in the good books.
Well
Or
done.
So you don't get sacked.
Yeah, that's true. All right.
You little crawler, you.
Quick drinks break here and we'll talk back in a sec. Let's talk BBL to wrap up the show. And watching it from an outside, purely as a fan, you two work in the game, it feels like BBL's back. Every second night is a close game. There's always some crazy highlight happening. As you've commentated a lot, we're recording this before the Thunder Hurricanes game. So when we talk about the table and the ladder and projections, keep that in mind. But you commentated that Scorchers Renegades game. The Renegades were gone at 4 for 10. Will Sutherland, of all people, put on 70 or 40 off 5 balls or something, won the game in the last over. What a great game.
Well, what's great about it is everyone's starting to work out the Perth Scorchers. They lost their last 2 matches at home in the last over. So what's been great about it, you said a commentator, but I'm a fan.
Yep.
I'm calling it as a fan of the game. And I think what I'm enjoying most about it is the closeness of the competition.
Yeah.
We're seeing some of the old timers do well. We're seeing some of the younger guys like Jake Fraser haven't fired yet, but they are going to win a game for their teams at some stage. And we've seen a 65-year-old man dominate the other night for the Thunder coming out of retirement. I thought Dan Christian was outstanding. So
He was a friend of the show. I'm part of the show, Dan Christian. He played really. What did he get? He 23 not out of 15 with a couple of sixes and 1 for 25 off 4.
You'd take that every day of the week.
Yeah.
Well, he also just texted me in at the start of the show that the hat I've got in today, he said I was involved in the Rovers in 1895 too. So mate, he's been around a while. But mate, it was great to see him. What I loved about it, they gave him the last over of the power play. He had to bowl it. He came out at the back end. And I was sitting on comms thinking, I hope he doesn't have to face Spencer Johnson. Like, the last thing you want to do, come him back. Anyway, Spencer Johnson was there and he was in control. He got to the other end. He bowled a couple of overs and he only faced 2 balls. He used his cricket nous, got to the other end, won. But, mate, I'm enjoying the closeness.
What do you think, Lee? BBL's back?
Yeah, BBL's back, and it has a lot to do with the border-gavaskar series. Like, everyone's captivated by that, so you're just sticking on to the games, right? But like you said, the games are close. By reducing it to 10 games, there's no lull period you can have as a team, whereas when it did go to 14, there were players that weren't playing the middle game. They were having a rest, and it was like, no.
Yeah.
If this is serious stuff, you're not having a rest because you want your team to do well, and that's what we're starting to see. And we're seeing more and more youngsters quite happy to take out the older senior guys and make a name for themselves. Cooper Conley is another one, who's now starting to be seen in Australian colours. So there's this next generation that are proving their point and their worth in this competition, which has always been the foundations of Big Bash without the test players. And then you get a few of them to come in now and it gets even more exciting.
Yeah. Cooper Conley had his bolter for the Sri Lanka Test Tour.
Oh.
Leading run scorer in the competition at the moment.
I don't think he'd be the leading run scorer in Sri Lanka.
Let me just clarify that.
Well, I think they're taking a squad, what I understand is 16, and the surface over there at Gaul is going to turn. The test matches, depending on how the first one goes, the wicket in the second one could be no fast bowlers, and sometimes that little part-time left arm spin is hard to play. So I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah. You mentioned Fraser McGurk. this summer he's averaging 9.57 in 7 innings. So what's that? 67 runs and 7 digs. Is it second-year syndrome for Fraser McGurk? Have teams started to figure him out a little bit? Is he going too hard? What's your read of him?
Oh, there's a number of ways to look at it. Yes, you'd like more runs. It's as simple as that.
Yep.
But I don't get too concerned with someone like Jake Fraser that they haven't got any runs yet. Or if they're learning about the game, and I imagine Cameron White would be working closely with him, if they come out of it a better player, you can live with it. And I think that's what's happening with him at the moment. There's been times where he's come out really hard, which I like. Other times he's tried to craft an innings.
Okay.
But the big thing for the tournament is he's going to come off.
Yeah.
At some stage, he's going to come off and win a game. So as long as they're learning, you got to remember, same as the talk about young Sam in the test match, that they're not the finished product yet. Yes, they're talented. They can do things that we all sit back and I know my kids, if they're about to bat, they'll yell out from downstairs to upstairs to come and watch them. That's what the Big Bash is about. We want entertainers. So he's developing his game. Mate, he'll come out the back of it. He'll definitely come out the back of it.
Well, he's got a big IPL contract to live up to, so I'm sure he'll put the hard yards in.
Look, the thing is, he kind of burst onto the scenes 18 months ago and literally had the red carpet. Everything he went to obviously the ILT20 with the Capitals there.
Yep.
Then he got injury replacement, IPL. There was talks about him replacing David Warner in the T20 side. I think Australia probably missed a beat there, to be honest, because he was flying high, right? And because now he's sat out a little bit and things haven't gone, people are finding him out. And these young kids that, whilst they've got all of the shots, that they only know a certain way at the moment because they haven't played a lot of cricket.
Yeah.
So they have to figure out what are the other gears that they can go to, and we're kind of witnessing that. But I think he's got the skill set. He's got the hand-eye coordination to be able to get himself out of trouble.
The other thing about his game is last year when he played some phenomenal knocks, he went to South Australia and he was playing consistent cricket. He was playing first-class cricket. This year he hasn't been in their first-class team.
Yeah.
So that makes a difference for someone as well when you're trying to get right with your rhythm. So he'll come out the other end. I just hope, and what have they got left? They've got 3 games left.
Yep.
He keeps going hard.
Okay.
Don't stand back from the fire. Keep walking into it. Your role is to win games. And if he comes off, they might get in the top 4 and he comes off in a semi, you win the game. If guys like that come off, you win.
And they're doing pretty well. I mean, they're 3-3, 3-4 at the moment. They're sitting 6th and just 1 point out of the top 4. So they've got the Stars and that big derby on January 12th and the Hurricanes and then the Heat to finish the season. So it's going to be pretty...
Who plays the Sixers in the final?
Well, the Thunder are coming second at the moment.
I think a Hobart Hurricane and Mitch Owens is he's coming off.
He can hit a long ball.
Yeah.
And they've won 4 in a row after losing the first. They've got a good bowling attack. They've got a bowling attack that complements each other. They've got Billy Stanlake starting to find a bit of game time, which he hasn't had for years.
Yeah.
Riley Meredith, we know what he's got. He's actually starting to develop a bit of a second game and use his slower balls. And I think Nathan Ellis is,
your boy.
pound for pound, one of the best 2020 bowlers in the world.
We were having a discussion about Nathan Ellis. He's like the guy you want in your team because he is giving 1,000%. Like he doesn't die wondering, and you always want someone like that. And I think obviously, I remember when they got out, they lost quite cheaply, didn't they? The first game they got absolutely rolled.
Renegades.
Bad wicket.
Yeah, and he literally pulled everyone in.
Yeah.
And I thought he handled that situation really well. And then since then, they've been flying.
Strong Andy Bickle vibes from Nathan Ellis.
Oh, yes.
Big team man. Kind of similar sort of bowler. We are, I guess, as we said before, we were recording this before the Hurricanes play the Heat, the Thunder, and the Mighty Thunder might have won that game by now. Hey, Hads.
You're asking the wrong person.
Sammy Constas back.
And you're asking the wrong person too.
No.
Actually, there's only Sixers allowed on this Willow Talk.
I'm going the Thunder. I go the Thunder. The test players. The test players are back. Carey, Hez not back. Jai Richardson, Constas, Webster. They're all back for the rest of the regular season. Steve Smith back for 3 games. which is cool. And Marnus and Kawaja are going to play just the one game. As you said before, I feel like the key to the Big Bash has always been getting those Aussie players to play. It's so tough with the calendar, and we're talking about how it's all jam-packed before, but it just adds another layer when you get those top-tier players coming in and playing. And it's a shame they won't be there for the playoffs, but it'll be a really good injection right before the finals.
Yeah, I mean, the Indian Premier League and the 100 is probably, and maybe the SA20 now are the only three kind of domestic competitions that are positioned around the international calendar. The Big Bash was never that.
Yeah.
It was always going up against Tests. I remember Paul Marsh, who was in charge of ACA at the time, was saying, why don't we have the Big Bash around October, November? Like, why not start it? And then you've still got your shield going on whilst Test cricket is happening. So therefore, when we're in a situation with Nathan McSweeney and we're not sure, people are playing Test cricket to bring them in, not the other way around.
Sure.
But the money, the commercialisation of the game, unfortunately rules the roost in some occasions, and this was an example.
The crowd at the SCG is different when Steve Smith's back.
Oh, yeah.
2 seasons back, he came back, he hit a couple of hundreds, he played right through the final. The interesting one's the Brisbane Heat.
Yeah.
You've got Aussie and Marnus coming back, and they're crowd favourites. That they'll come back into the team. Everyone will love them. You get a big crowd. But do you play them?
Do you upset the apple cart that's going?
Yeah, they got 3 more games. No, 2 more games before they have to play.
Yeah.
Like they come in for 1 game. You want them to play.
Yeah.
But it depends on how you're going in the. It's all about building combinations and
confidence. And,
If your group's flying, do you play them?
Yeah, that's a good shout. Well, I was in Brisbane for Christmas, and all the banners, one's Marnus, one's Usman, next one's Renshaw, next one's McSweeney. So they're big ticket items up there.
They're all big ticket items.
They are big ticket items, but purely from a high performance point of view.
Yeah, but if they play well, they might get them into the finals, and
they might be in the finals already. Then they can play as well.
Well, they're right on the bubble now as we look at the ladder. The Sixers, Thunder, Hurricanes, they're all on 8 points, and they've all played 6 games. The Hurricanes, again, they'll have played by the time you hear this, so they may be on top of the table. Then it's the Heat. The Scorchers are an interesting one. Can the Scorchers miss out? What are their remaining games? They've got the Sixers, Thunder, and the Strikers.
Well, the Scorchers are a real interesting team. They've been the benchmark in every form of cricket for the last few years. But when you are playing that consistently, you start to lose your players to international. They've had a few injuries, and all of a sudden your squad depth get tested. And that's what, if you look at the Sixers and Thunder, they've got 2 teams to pick from. They've had it great over in the West for some time. They just sit over there quietly. They've got the pick of all their players. They're developing some unbelievable talent for Australia. But now it's getting recognised. It's getting recognised. Players are getting pulled out. And now their depth is starting to get tested as well. They've actually dropped their 2 overseas players as well. So had they got their recruitment right this year? So they left Jennings out and Hurst last night. Mitch Marsh obviously came back, which is big in. But they're finding things difficult. They'll be there and thereabouts again because they've got such a great list. But they've been tested.
Yeah, and Mitch Marsh won't get a golden duck every game, and so expect to hear.
Let's hope not.
Let's hope not for Scorchers fans.
Stop blocking, Mitch.
Yeah, what's he doing?
Yeah, hit it over the sight screen. I don't think we'll see him blocking anymore.
Smash it. Can you see anyone else jump up into the top 4 there? I don't mind the Renegades.
Renegades, they've got that ability. They've got and sometimes like the victory.
Yeah. Yes, like
that against the Scorchers, that tends to just galvanise people, right?
Yeah.
And they go, hey, we can win from any situation. That self-belief is there, and all of a sudden they start to figure things out. And as we know, the games come thick and fast, and if you're winning, it's great. If you're losing, it sucks.
Are we giving the Stars any chance?
No chance.
I tell you what they will be is annoying.
Yeah, of course.
Like they've knocked
They'll take a few people out along the way, right?
And
they might ruin the Renegades' chances. They'll be looking to spoil their season.
You don't want to play them if you're getting ready because you don't know what team's going to turn up. if Stoinis has a night out, you're gone.
Yeah.
If Maxi has a night out, you're gone.
Yeah.
At some stage, you'd think those two will have a night out. So they'll be a tough team. They'll be an annoying team to play, but they just can't get it right.
So Sixers Thunder final. Sounds good.
Sixers will be there. We don't know who they'll play yet.
Oh, wow. Warner in the final. There you go. That'll help appease all our newest New South Wales bias that people keep mentioning. That's all right. I think that's a wrap for today's Willow Talk. Thank you so much, Lisa, for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Real pleasure. Hads, keep it real.
Keep it real, and I can't wait for the women's team to bully England.
Ooh. All right. Catch you next week. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for watching the Willow Talk podcast on YouTube. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't have to miss an episode wherever you are. And while you're at it, check out these videos up here. They're mostly good.